corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. There's a drive. Way back. It might be.
I'm gonna have to start the music over again. I didn't have a button push. That's why it was so quiet. Try it one more time. Hey. Hey, I'm going to start music up, guys, so go ahead and keep it on. Hey, Scott, you want to jump on real quick, see how your mic sounds?
How do I sound?
What's that music in the background? It's nice.
It's my wife. I thought I'd play some smooth jazz while we're doing this.
That's fine. All right, hit mute, guys. I'm going to go ahead and play intro music because Elliot's on a timeline here. All right.
Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. There's a drive. Way back. It might be. It could be. Yeah. Playing a high drive in the left. Back towards the track. He's at the track. He has it. And the Cardinals are world champion for 2011. Lou bounces slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
This is the Team of Rivals podcast. No insiders, no anonymous sources, just passionate analysis from the bleacher seats. Here are your hosts, Ron Nuttall and Peter Geddes.
Well, Twitter's getting pretty active tonight, fellas, and I am struggling to keep up, to be honest with you. This is our weekly episode of Team of Rivals podcast. I have a little bit different crowd with me tonight. Pete is away from home this evening, so I've got a couple of special guests on. You've heard them on here before. We have Elliot Dewey from Milwaukee.
Good evening, everybody. Or good day, depending on when you're listening to this.
Yes. Because we have listeners all the way in Japan.
So it could be
if you believe the statistics. Right. And then we have my brother who's sitting in on this portion here. I'm not going to pull him in and berate him like I did last time. I'm catching a little bit of heat from that, from family, that I shouldn't call him out so much. But we got something important to talk about. After we wrap up the baseball talk here, we're all big fans of something else, and we're going to get into that. Because there's as active as the baseball world is right now, as we head inch closer and closer into the winter meetings, Twitter's really, really blown up, and I keep my eye on my phone because there's a new something that comes across. I think about every 2 minutes. So Elliot got me caught up on something that happened while I was out, and but before we do that, Scott, do you have anything to say to the baseball crowd here before we get into the good stuff?
Was I supposed to wear a hat?
Do you have a hat?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's it have on it?
It's got a Cardinals logo.
Like this one?
Yeah. It's dirty. It's not nice looking. It's dirty.
Can you go get it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can.
Okay. I like it.
I mean, you guys look really cool with your headphones and your hats, so I just didn't want to feel left out.
No, I don't feel left out. I don't feel left out whatsoever. Hey, guys, do you have a gain or a volume on your microphone? You guys are coming in hot. Or maybe just get it a little farther away from the orifice.
Is mine a little louder? Testing.
That's good. You got a good distance right there.
Am I good here?
Yeah. Oh, you're better.
Right.
It's smooth.
Oh yeah, smooth.
That's smooth. All right, so let's get right into it. So we've got the latest thing that Elliot actually is bringing me up to speed on, and that would be Aledmus Diaz dealt to the Blue Jays for some. My phone just went black screen on me.
J.B. Woodman, a minor
J.B.
league
Woodman,
player,
who I've never ever heard of,
who has done nothing.
Right. I think looking at just the OPS here, they're about identical. So I don't know anything about this kid. I don't know what position he plays.
He's low A outfielder.
So okay, fun. Isn't it incredible the way baseball works with some guys, right? He was an all-star in 2016. Starting shortstop almost the entire year. couldn't get going last year. They sent him down to AAA, and he never made his way back up. Well, maybe he made his way back up in September, but he did actually. But now he finds himself dealt for another for high A ball kid, I'm assuming, or low A, right?
Low A ball. Yep.
I don't know. I didn't have time to get caught up on that on those events.
The little blurb about him that I've got is that he was the Blue Jays' second-round pick of the 2016 draft, outfielder prospect who did not put up huge numbers at low A.
Sweet.
But he was top 30 in their organization for prospects.
Well, it definitely sounds like a blockbuster. That just happened. That the rest of the other fans of the other 28 teams will have absolutely zero interest in. It did register on the Twitterverse though, so I guess it's something to mention. So the latest here, so that's one happening, a minor happening.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't been very optimistic about the whole Stanton situation as it relates to the Cardinals actually acquiring him. I think the baseball world the consensus is, as far as the teams that showed the most interest, the Cardinals probably had the most to offer the Marlins if they're going into a rebuild and wanting to shed payroll. As far as prospects goes, the Cardinals seem to have had the right mix of what the Marlins really need. And I think they're focused in on pitching, and the Cardinals should certainly have those arms in their system. Mm-hmm. But it really, when it comes down to location, Stanton, would he even consider St. Louis? Would he even sit down and have a meeting? Would he allow a pitch to happen at all?
Right.
Big question. And I was very skeptical about the whole thing. Now, the Giants, though, when you think about this, Elliot, and I want to get your thought on this. So the Giants, as far as location, and if we're only talking St. Louis and San Francisco at the moment, I think LA might be hanging out in the fringes just watching what's going on.
Right.
But if you look at the Giants, we know this about Stanton. He said he doesn't want to go to a rebuild. Would you say the Giants are in a rebuild or not?
Man, I would have to say yes, because when you look at the Giants, a lot of their core is getting to that middle of the age, sort of fringe on the higher part of the age. I mean, besides guys like, Buster Posey, who's still in his prime. God, I feel like a lot of their players are on that end of the fringe of getting older. And Stanton's what, 26?
I think he'll be, if I'm not, I could be mistaken about this. So I think he's going to be 28 in January.
I feel like most of the San Francisco Giants guys are 32, 33, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be a problem for Stanton. So I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like he's hoping LA. That's what I feel like.
Stanton's don't think there's any doubt. No, I don't think there's any doubt. And could you blame the guy for doing it? He grew up 16 miles away from Dodger Stadium. If that's where he wanted to play, if he had his choice, if he couldn't play, look, the guy committed for 13 years to Miami, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure a lot of it was about money, but I'm sure the location was acceptable to him. And if he couldn't play there, how can you blame the guy for wanting to go home and play? I wouldn't.
Right. Right. And I think like some of his Midwest teams that that he's not going to go for. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of has to do with not just location, but I think weather too. I don't think he likes playing in those cold weather stadiums. And if he picks a Midwest team, there's going to be half the year where he's going to be playing in cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, do you want to win? That's the big question.
Well, I think that is the big question with San Francisco. One, it's technically not in Southern California, right? I'm not a geography expert, but I think it's about halfway up, right? And the Giants. So they were 100 lost.
It's always going to be cold there. You're looking at some place where you're going to be between 55 and 65 degrees for probably about 80 to 85% of your games out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is on the Bay, and it is farther north. But the thing that I think about the Giants more is that they're a 100-loss team last year. So while you might not say, it's hard to say that somebody's in a rebuild when they were World Series champions as as short ago as 2014, and then they won in 2012, they won in 2010. So they've got a winning tradition. So they check all those boxes. But the question is, how long is it going to take them? Are they 2 or 3 years out? If they do make this deal, and if the names that they've thrown out there are in fact part of the package, boy, is that setting them back? I mean, they have no minor league system right now to deal from.
I think it does. I think it does set them back because that is the young pitching and the young position players that they were going to be bringing up to be replacing some of these guys that are getting a little older, like
Samardzija and Cueto. I mean, those are 2 big contracts they signed just in recent years that they're already trying to look for outlets to get rid of those guys. So
I don't see Samardzija there at the beginning of the season. Cueto, they may be more willing to hold on to, but I think they deal Samardzija by the beginning of spring training.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of deal they get, but you would have to imagine if they get rid of either of those guys before the season starts, they're going to be eating some amount of that contract. Now, unless it's a bad contract swap for another bad contract, which it does happen. But yeah, they're going to have to eat something there. I just don't see them getting any better in the next 2 to 3 years, and I'm wondering how that registers with him. Now, I will say this: in 2 or 3 years, he does have an opt-out, and which is, boy, that doesn't come without risk, though, right? I mean, given his age right now, he'll be 30 when he's able to opt out, right? Turning 31 before the next year. And so he's got a lot of money on the table, but if he puts his numbers up anywhere near where he's at now, it may not be an issue. So that's the only way I could see this happening, LA, is that he's willing to accept one of these 2 deals because he does have that opt-out built in.
Right. But at the same time, do you want to waste 2 of your prime years with a team that you don't know if they're actually going to rebuild?
Yeah, very true. And so as far as the rebuild question, I think San Francisco is a big question. If they don't land this deal for Stanton, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go in that mode. And who's to say, even if they do land him, they're going to have to do some sort of major retooling overhaul in order to get themselves back to the competitive spot, which they see themselves as. So I think that puts St. Louis, as far as who's competitive. St. Louis is not in a rebuild.
They're one of those fringe teams that if you add a bat like Stanton,
you're back in the mix, right?
You're hugely back in the mix,
right?
So,
well, that one bat, and we beat this up we beat it up in the off season. I beat it up before it was revealed that they really didn't have a 3 or 4 hitter, and then it was just confirmed as we moved through the year that one batter in the middle of your lineup makes a difference, because now you're asking a complementary piece not to be a centerpiece, and there's a difference between the two, right? And so that's what they were trying to do last year.
Yeah, and then you get the guy in front of him who's going to see better pitches because they're not going to want to see Stanton, and then you got him. Hopefully, you got some guys in front of him getting on base and then driving in runs. So
protection behind him is a question, but I think there are some candidates there, and no, it's not Steven Piscotty. I see some protection, and Yadier Molina is nobody to sneeze at behind a batter, right? If you want to pitch around Stanton, you're going to have to deal with him, and he's still a very good contact hitter, and he can have some power once in a while. But you also have now he's entering his sophomore season, so there's some skepticism on my part that comes with that. But Paul DeYoung, the shortstop, could be that potential protection behind Stanton. Now it's nothing like the days where you had Pujols, Edman, Rollins, right? That's you don't come by that too often. I mean, you're experiencing some of it right now, where you have Bryant and Rizzo tandem there. That's tough to get around. But
Bryant, Rizzo, Schwarber. If Schwarber gets back into,
he's got to earn his way back in my heart there, right? Before I call him. Remember that song, Scott? I still got that on my digital recorder. But he was only
awesome.
Yeah, he was only on Schwarber watch for what, a month?
It wasn't very long. Yeah. It wasn't long enough to use that.
No, we had an interim because we played with Schwarber watch 17, and we never got to employ it because by the time I recorded that, he was back up. I'm like, damn it.
The Schwarber meter.
Yeah, that's good. No, I didn't. But anyway, so back to this deal. So I'm surprised that this is the first confirmation that I would say that he's not ruling out St. Louis. It doesn't mean he would accept a deal there, but right now he has not told them, no, I absolutely won't consider it. The fact that they are meeting with the Cardinals is a sign that I think he's at least open to the possibility. I still think it's a long shot for this thing to happen, though. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've seen weirder deals happen, and we've seen deals come out of nowhere. So we don't know. And apparently, they're meeting with Stanton right now.
Should we see if we can get him in? Scott, work on it.
Yeah.
See if we can get them to dial in, so we can hear how these talks progress.
Yeah, we just need like a quick
mute button.
I'll work on
30-second
that. I'll
blurb.
work on that.
All right. That mute button on that microphone, I hate it. I forgot to do it all the time.
I know.
Anyway, so I want to move on to something else here because there's another big story. So there's 2 episodes ago, we called it elephants, right? Because there's 2 big elephants in the room as far as the offseason goes. Stanton's one of them. Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese star, is the other one. So now I know there's a few teams involved in him, Elliot, but I want to hear something from you. The Cubs seem like they are involved and they are serious about this thing. But in your opinion, what is it going to take? Now, before you answer me, I've got some special. I got something special I want to play in tandem because I want to hear your answer while I play it. Okay.
Okay.
So think about this. What do the Cubs need to do to, in your opinion, to convince him to go to Chicago? Okay. And I'll let you go ahead and talk. What do the Chicago Cubs need to do to convince the Japanese phenom to move to the Windy City? How does he look in blue? Let's find out. Go ahead, Elliot. What do they need to do?
I think the big thing for him,
I'm leaving this on, too.
he wants to play both sides. He wants to pitch, and he wants to play the outfield, and he wants to hit. I think he wants to be that all-around player. And if Theo says,
Way to go!
pitch 7 innings, I'll throw you out in left field, and you can stay there for the rest of the game. I think if Theo says that, Ohtani comes. And you know what? Joe Madden is crazy enough to probably convince Theo that maybe he doesn't play every day of the week, but maybe he's out there for 4 days out of the week. I don't know.
What about the city? How would you convince somebody to move to the Midwest? Move to the Midwest. Move to the Windy City. What's appealing about that to a player from Japan? Obviously, never played here before. Trying to make his name. Trying to make his way. Get deep.
I know it's
get
not
deep.
New York,
do I have to turn this up for you to get deep? Hold on.
It's city. It is Chicago. Come on. You are 1 year out of a World Series. Win. That's what I'm talking about.
I can't take anything that's being said seriously right now.
I can't.
With that music playing.
Hey,
all right.
It's tough not to laugh while that's going on.
I'm sure
That's all right.
You did a pretty good job.
He held it together. That's his distraction.
He did. I couldn't. I wasn't even talking. I couldn't keep it together.
This is exactly like when my wife tries to talk to me about something like a plan the next weekend, and I've got nothing but squawking kids. It sounds like I'm in a damn bird atrium, and she's trying to talk to me, and I hear nothing because all I can hear is
Right. Because and then when she gets done, you turn, you're like, "Did you just say? Were you saying something to me?"
It's like Scott earlier. His lips are moving.
And then the hands go up.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of that. Boy, that was sweet. I'm not going to give my opinion on this thing tonight because it's something Pete and I are reserving for. We're going to record later on in the week because he wants to talk about what he thinks his Cubs need to do. And if my Cardinals happen to be involved, what would they do? What would they need to do to convince somebody like him to come to St. Louis? So we're going to get into that on the next show.
Well, you know what you and Pete need to do? You need to take the homework assignment that Ohtani sent out to everybody, and you guys need to fill out your own.
Pretty much what we're doing. That's pretty much what we're doing. And sorry, Elliot, you were a guinea pig for that music because I wasn't sure how we'd be able to focus and even talk while it was playing. So I wanted to test it on you tonight. So thank you for signing up for that one. So anyway,
no problem.
To get serious about the issue, though, I mean, there is somebody put it this way this morning on MLB Network Radio that, boy, they've seen guys that can hit 500-foot bombs. You know, they've seen guys that can do that. They've seen guys that can throw a baseball 100 miles an hour. Never have they seen one be able to do both. And so this is a very, very unique situation, and it could really
this could be a once in a generation baseball player, and I think every single team, same thing, will let you play both ways. Because I mean, he could be. I mean, this guy could be that next huge star. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, and you know,
I'm just wondering about the impact it could have on baseball. Just the impact it could have on baseball.
He has until December 22nd to sign with an MLB team. So there's
3 weeks, man. That is not a lot.
This guy has to sign in 3 weeks.
Yep.
And you gotta think that he has a team narrowed down, or a few teams narrowed down, that he
wouldn't. It's hard to believe he'd come all the way over here and have a scope open to all 30 teams. There's no way, right? So I'm sure you're right. I'm sure he does in his mind at least have a few that he would consider off the bat initially. Yeah. I think going to the two-way player thing, though, I mean, if he were able to make it work, just imagine the impact that could potentially have on this game, because we don't see that. What we've seen, we've seen guys that started out as position players, right, and they didn't make it, but they reinvented themselves and actually went down to the minor leagues and became pitchers and came back up. You had one in the Cubs, Brooks Kieschnick. You know, he actually had done both. The Cardinals had Rick Ankiel, which was more unique because he started off as a pitcher phenom, lost his mind, couldn't throw a strike anymore, and all of a sudden came back as a pretty good position player for a few years. So we see it, but we just rarely do.
You know what? I want to say Wilson Contreras started out as a pitcher and became a catcher.
Well, Jason Mott started out as a catcher, became a pitcher.
Yeah.
He actually had caught my brother-in-law when he played for the Cardinals minor league system. So my brother-in-law knew him. But yeah, so I mean, we've seen it, but we've never seen it at the same time. So the impact on this, I'm just very, very curious. It's almost like in football, right? We've seen this example in football. Devin Hester was a good example. They drafted him, started him out as a defensive back, and he was a kickoff punt returner, and then he became an offensive weapon. So Deion Sanders is the only other one I can think of that was that versatile. But I'm just wondering, because we've never seen that in baseball. Bo Jackson, two-sport athlete. But we have never seen that pencil him in every day. Hey, I can be a solid position player and I can be a solid pitcher. Just like never heard of. It's unheard of, man. But I'm thinking about it a little bit more. Is Ohtani a starter or is he a relief pitcher? Right. I mean, imagine on days how would that work? I would think it's more likely he's a starter position player, don't you? How would you be a bullpen pitcher and a position player? I would just think that would be much, much harder. I could be wrong, but I would think that would be a lot harder.
Hey, you know what? There's the legend of Travis Wood. Coming in and pitching 2 innings. Joe Madden moving him out to left field, makes a great catch against the wall, comes back in, and then pitches another inning and a half. And this happened last year.
And I've seen that before too, where they don't want to take the pitcher out, but they'll stick him in an outfield position. They don't think what he's going to hit to, and then they'll bring him right back in, which is perfectly, you can do that. You don't see it often; it's rare, but it does happen.
No.
So anyway, there's other teams
being a relief pitcher though. It's just weird. It's weird to think about.
Right?
It's weird to think about outside of high school baseball and below, because as soon as you get to college, it's you're kind of going for that one thing. You're either going to be a pitcher or you're going to be, you're being groomed at that point. So,
yeah, right. The Cubs sound like there is a lot of interest on the Cubs side. I just haven't heard their name pop up as much as I have New York, and there was another team in there. I don't think the Rangers. The Rangers shouldn't be counted out because they're known to do this type of thing, but I think that they're kind of at a point where I don't think they have enough money initially. I think their international money is they've already acquired. Sure. I think you can acquire. I could be wrong. I think you can acquire up to 75% back, and you can acquire 75% back to your max limit. And I think they've already done that, and they're not even at a max limit yet. So I'm curious as to, are they going to be able to jump back in this. The Mariners have been brought up as well, but this is one of those, man. I think it's down to like 5 or 6 teams, and I think Chicago is in that mix. I don't know if you've heard any different.
I think so too. There's been little blurbs here and there that Chicago is still in the mix for him, but I mean, we won't know. I mean, he just posted today. So MLB said he's available today to start talking to teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen quick.
Right.
I don't think it's going to go to the deadline. I think in 14 days. Because I think everybody's
I can see that.
been kind of
between that and
preparing for
second. Well, between that second and third week, I agree. I think it'll happen then, but I do think he'll do the due diligence, and I'm betting he sits down with at least a half dozen teams and then makes his decision. But anyway, he's coming, man. He's going to be here in April. He's going to be in a major league uniform, and he's going to be in the league, and we're going to see how this thing unfolds. Fascinating, really.
No. It's a great story for baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
No matter where he lands.
So as far as any other free agent notables, really there aren't any stories out there because I think so much is waiting on these two things to happen.
Yeah, I think as soon as Giancarlo Stanton signs with the team, I think excuse me, Ohtani's kind of like it's a separate story from the rest of
because the upfront money's not going to hold
right
it up, right? So that's not
right. So Stanton's like the big shoe to drop. As soon as this, I think you're going to see a lot more. I mean, with guys like Cobb for the Cubs, and I hear there's already negotiations going on there for like 4 years for him. So, but I think everybody's just kind of waiting for that big shoe to drop.
Yeah, I think, and the thing is it going to happen before the winter meetings or not? You would have to. I mean, here's the thing: the Marlins have no leverage in this whole scenario. If Stanton just doesn't want to do anything, then nothing. He doesn't have to. I mean, he has a full no trade clause, so he can kill this whole thing in a second.
Marlins uniform at the beginning of this next baseball season. So
I do believe that, but why the hell would you want to at this point? I mean, they basically tried to strong arm him, right? They've said,
right,
well, if you don't want to accept a trade anywhere, that's fine. I mean, you're going to be in our uniform next year, but we're going to have to start shedding everybody.
Yeah.
And so basically they've said, well, if you want to stay here, that's fine. You're going to have a terrible team around you.
Yeah. You could hit another 60 bombs,
I think it's
but you're still going to lose 100 games.
Yeah. I think it's going to get done. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's today's December 1st within the next 9 days that this is done really before the winter meetings start happening. I think it's going to be done because you know what? Whoever's even his representatives in the Marlins, they have a lot of stuff to do at the winter meetings. They all want to get this done.
Yeah.
So they can
they do
work on other things that they need to do. Right. So anyway, enough of that. And I think that might be enough of the baseball talk tonight. Because
one more thing before we quit baseball. I didn't see this before, but I guess Ohtani has said that he prefers to join a team that doesn't already have a Japanese baseball player on their team.
I did hear that today too. And currently I don't think either Chicago doesn't right now.
No, they do not.
And St. Louis doesn't either. So, oh shit. Cardinals jump into this, man. If they don't get,
don't they have O?
I don't know how I would. No, man. He's a free agent. He's Korean anyway.
Okay. Oh, okay. My bad.
He played in Japan before he came over to the States, but yeah, he's Korean born. Oh, Scott, do you have to jump off now?
Yes, I do.
I thought you meant 9:50 my time. I thought you meant 9:50 your time.
No, 9:50 your time. So I'm gonna have to go pick up the child, but I will be back. So
okay, you let me know when you're back, and I'll keep the hotline open.
Yeah, that's good. It'll probably take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So
okay, cool.
All right.
I'll play that music while you're gone. So guys, who might be watching, who might watch this can listen to the music. So anyway, to Scott, we'll talk to you in a bit. And for those of you that are watching the YouTube live, we're actually going to stick around for a little while, and we're going to start talking about some of the happenings. And let me take a guess. Right, take a guess. We're going to talk about a little bit of a movie coming out here in less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, fellas.
Less than 2 weeks.
Can't wait.
Crazy.
Can't wait.
Crazy. Crazy. All right, Scott. We'll see you when you jump back on.
All right.
So Elliot, yeah. So to kind of wrap up baseball, it's really hard to talk about other things that are going to happen because they've been all very, very, very minor, and we're going to find out more, I think, over this weekend how the visit with Stanton and the Cardinals representatives have gone, and I think next week, by the time we get into Monday, early next week, I think we'll have some clarity on how the situation's unfolding, and I'm still going to be surprised if St. Louis is able to make it happen. I think if they're smart, they're already working on Plan B and trying to get that done and set up and arranged, and maybe Plan B will happen at the winter meetings or right before. So,
well, and that's
this should all clear up soon enough.
That's why all these teams, the big shoe drops, and then everybody goes to Plan B, and then things start to happen a little quicker.
Well, one more name I want to throw out there. So, you Darvish, there are about my son is actually since we have time here. Hold on a second, because my son is actually. He's texting me right now, and he tried to FaceTime me while we were on here. But you guys, there's a way you can hear him, but sometimes when he calls into these things, you can hear him, but he can't hear you. But I'm going to try this real quick here, Elliot, and because I know he's
I'm back.
He's what?
I'm back.
Oh, you don't have to do the duty.
My lovely wife said, "Oh, I didn't realize what you're doing. I'll go."
I'm dialing Braden in, guys.
Oh, awesome.
Braden, you there? Can you guys hear him?
No.
Braden, talk. Yeah? Okay, so these guys can't hear you. I'll try to turn up. I heard about Diaz. Yeah, he got traded to Toronto. In fact, Elliot, who's been on the podcast a few times, just told me about it. I'm glad because he was terrible.
I love that my 12-year-old nephew knows more about baseball than me.
He does. He does know more than you.
He knows a vast, just major. I don't know. Just it's crazy compared to me. I can't do it. I can't even sit and have a conversation about baseball with him because I'm like, I like when people catch the ball. I like that.
Hold on, B. I'm trying to figure out how I can get you on this and say something else.
It is odd that you have a brother that knows so much about baseball,
and I don't. I know,
and you don't.
Yeah,
yeah. Scott is
even my youngest brother who doesn't. He's not a sports guy.
Yeah.
Like he played sports in high school, but he's not like a big follow sports on TV sort of person.
Yeah,
he knows enough that he could probably name a few guys on the team.
Yeah,
talk a little bit about it, but
you like Albert Pujols, right, Scott? Still your favorite player?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the ones that I guess were big. Yeah, like Mark McGuire and Albert Pujols, Darryl Strawberry.
Impressed with that one. Darryl Strawberry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's probably when I
led the league. He led the league in something last year. Oh yeah, okay. You didn't watch him with Dad?
I don't know. When was he?
He hasn't played since like '96.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I like when I watched the baseball games with Dad, like when I would pretend to. I wasn't going to say that, but thank you for.
That is exactly what you were talking about. So anyway,
baseball.
So we probably should wrap up.
Actually,
yeah. we should probably wrap up the baseball talk because we already told one of my favorite stories about Scott. Not only did he I think he lost interest because it's a summertime sport and he got hot. It's like, this is not fun.
No, it's not. It sucked. I didn't like it.
All right, so you gave it up at that point. Now, but my favorite story at the ballpark was when who saved your life? Oh no, you were watching a game, middle of summer. It was too hot. Mom had to take you up in the concourse and probably get you a snow cone or something.
Yeah.
And some player hit a smoking line drive right in the seat that you were sitting in.
Would have collapsed my sternum.
Oh wow!
So your intolerance and indifference to the sport of baseball actually saved your life.
Saved my and you know what? I've been repaying it ever since.
Repaying it everything you have. We've all benefited
Because
your
I know if the moment I have any just remote interest in baseball, I could die. I know.
I was driving to St. Louis, semi, boom,
You know what? I really like to go watch a Cardinal game. Bam, dead.
or just a softball game at Athletic Park.
Yeah.
Could happen anywhere. Baseball has taken lives, and will continue.
To watch any games over at the Corn Crib?
That's a corn crib.
Oh my god!
Is that in Bloomington?
Who is playing there anymore? Are they still the Huskers?
Isn't it? Is it the
Shockers?
Heartland College?
Is that
Heartland College plays there.
Do they still have an independent league that plays there?
Yeah.
Still the corn.
My brother says he takes the kids there to go play baseball or go watch baseball. He says it's actually a really nice ball field.
Didn't Braden play over there a couple times?
Braden, the corn crib.
Oh, yeah, I've been to a couple games.
Yeah, I can hear him, guys, on the soundboard, so he's not coming through.
I can hear him. I can hear him. Now.
I can hear him now.
Oh, they can hear you now.
I knew absolutely no one.
You knew
Like, they're all like some bum people.
bum people. Okay, so they're bum people hanging out at the corn crib. That's why Braden doesn't like to go there anymore. So we've got that insight now. Hey, Braden, can you stay on with us just for a little bit? Okay, cool. All right, so and we're on live right now, so don't be using any foul language or talking about things you shouldn't. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did you say no or yes?
He said yes with an eye roll. So,
No.
All right, so we're gonna cut the baseball talk off right here, and this is gonna show up on the audio version, and we're gonna get into some Star Wars talk right now because a ton of things have happened. So. I was going to mention this at the beginning of the podcast, and I didn't do it, and I was going to change things up a little bit. But if you want to catch us, we're everywhere you can download a podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, and you can also catch all of our. We have video versions of these same podcasts now, so we do have a YouTube channel. But the best place for you to go to catch audio and video would be teamofrivalspodcast.com. After each of these shows, I load everything up on there, so it's pretty much a one-stop. So you don't have to venture around and find us. But please check us out, share, rate, review. The ratings and reviews are great. It really helps lift our search up there on iTunes so people can find us and spread the word. Elliot, Scott, thank you so much for joining us tonight and sitting in for Pete while he's away. Any parting words for the baseball portion? A baseball segment, not you, Scott.
It was riveting.
A crazy next couple of weeks.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, as much as I'm looking forward to see where Stanton goes, I'm really looking forward to see what happens afterwards with the rest of baseball.
Amen. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this week, and we'll talk to you again this weekend once Pete gets home. All right. Hopefully we have a lot more exciting news to talk about, and hopefully we're seeing Giancarlo Stanton in a new baseball hat. A new baseball hat. All right. Thank you, Braden. All right. Talk to you soon, everyone. Bye-bye. I'm just going to dump the music in later.
Sounds good.
I felt like at the end I should have had Go Sports.
Why didn't you?
I want you to make a sound clip of that.
We're still broadcasting.
Go Sports. So you can just play it whenever.
Could have totally done that.
Hey, my brother Scott, if he was here, you know what he'd say? Go Sports. You just have it right there.
There you go, boys.
Heat up.
This is what I got on my other screen right here.
Oh yeah.
Is that
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, Jesus.
That's an impression of our dad. So
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. I finished the campaign of Battlefront 2.
I watched it on YouTube.
The story was awesome.
7 hours straight.
wow,
That's sick.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, you hear that? I got you.
I heard.
All right, so we're going to talk about some Star Wars here, but guys, pause for a minute. Everybody put yourself on mute just for a second. Hey, Scott.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes, Mom.
you want to start mouthing at the beginning, or you want me to?
No, I can mouth it. That's fine.
Okay, I'll let you do it then. Here we go.
What am I supposed to mouth?
And introduce it. I don't know. I don't care. You introduce it. I'm not gonna.
Okay. All right. Welcome to episode 1 of the Bad Critic Podcast, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This episode is kind of a joint venture with Team of Rivals Podcast. So check us both out. And really, I got a couple guests tonight. So we're kind enough to join me. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys?
L.A. Dewey, coming from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Avid sports fan and Star Wars nerd. And now throw in the video game nerd as well. So,
Perfect.
Star Wars fan all my life. Used to keep my dad up every single night until I was about 5 years old with, all right, I got to watch Star Wars before I go to bed. Let's do it.
Ron, I'm Scott's brother, and Scott has frequently appeared, sometimes reluctantly, on my Go Sports podcast. My priorities in life are pretty much my son's on the line, so my children.
It's a lie.
Star Wars and baseball are. It's really hard to put one above the other because both of them feed my very hungry soul. And that's about all I'm going to say. I am flipping excited about the movie that's coming out in less than 2 weeks. That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
And a lot's happened in the baseball world, which I'm not going to talk about anymore because we spent some time talking about that. But it's almost overload right now of information. Trailers, tweets. I don't know how anybody keeps up. Full-time job, man.
Yeah, and I'm Scott Nuttall, your host. And Ron, I need to point out that Ron is my older brother. And happy early birthday to him because tomorrow's his birthday. So I'm going to throw that out there.
Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. That's
So
great.
with Bad Critic, we're going to start off episode number 1 by talking about the most important topic that is going on right now, and that is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So I know we're all chomping at the bit on every little piece of information that's coming out. I know I am. Like Ron said, there's new tweets and news updates every day. Just on The Last Jedi, all these new clips that are coming out, trailers, TV spots. It's just overwhelming. So I guess what's something to start off, what's something that's jumped out at each one of you guys that is some of the new information that's come out recently? What is standing out? What's getting you excited? What's something that just blew your mind?
I can go ahead and start on there. But before I start, somebody's got a hot buzz on their microphone here. I'm not sure who it is. We left us kind of a guest that's sitting in the bleacher seats right now. We kind of didn't mention him. Let me mention him real quick.
Yeah,
you guys can't see him, but he's right here staring at me. My son and Scott's nephew is listening in. Because he FaceTimed me, so I FaceTimed him back because I knew we were going to be talking about two things that he's actually on the same level with us guys, but he's experiencing this at an age that I would love to go back to, and that's he's 12 years old and he's getting to experience all this baseball, watching it every day. Like we weren't able to watch it, Elliot, and we were 12 years old. He's able to get all this information as quick as anybody, and he's experiencing this new wave of Star Wars at a very young age. But he's sitting here kind of on the side. I've got him on my phone, but I've hooked him into the soundboard just to Brandon, just say a quick hi and let's. Oh God.
B, are you excited about Last Jedi? Yes, very.
I'm not sure if it said Barry or very. All right,
So here's a quick little tidbit. So when The Phantom Menace came out, I was 12 years old. I was Braden's age.
Mhm.
So this Star Wars movie he will remember forever, because, and I hope to God that it's a better experience than when I watched Star Wars at 12 years old.
Yeah, that gave us all a
the
pit.
disappointment.
Yeah, it gave us all a pit in our stomach because
Well-
I was in Hawaii, guys. I watched it in Hawaii, and
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Obviously, Elliot, you were we're close in age, but we went through a dark time there. Where
We did.
we didn't know if Star Wars is ever going to come back or not, and even if it did, in what capacity, and so
I still get nightmares when I see those big floppy ears jumping around, man.
Well, you know what's even worse though is, as a 12-year-old, that was the coolest movie I'd ever seen. It didn't hit me until maybe about 15. Like watching it again, like oh no.
I was 18, and it ruined it. It didn't ruin it for me.
it could have
Because I was
damn near that though, didn't it?
I was so excited to go in because the few years before they had released New Hope, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back in the movie theater.
Well, they had all the re-edits, right, or the special editions. That's what they're called.
Which I wasn't excited about, but I got to see the movies again in theater when before I was too young to go to the theater.
Yeah.
So I every time they were released, I drove back to my hometown. I got with my dad and I bought him a ticket to the movie, and we went to the movie theater together to go watch all those re-releases because they meant that much to me to go with him. And so every new one that's come out, I have gone back home and I've gone with my dad.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. I no, like I said, I was in Hawaii. I was in the military still at the time, but I saw Phantom Menace out there, and I was, I wasn't liking it up to a point, but there was a point there when they went to Tatooine before the pod race, and that double-headed pod racer announcer.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I remember I had my face in my hands, hoping I would move my hands out of the way and I'd wake up in my bed because I really hadn't seen the movie yet. It was a damn nightmare, man. I saw it, I'm like, oh, and no, look, I didn't hate the movie. I just thought there were parts of it that were just hard to watch.
Yeah.
That was hard to watch. Episode 2 is the hardest for me to watch. That's the one.
hate.
Yeah, episode 2 is
pure
rage. Episode 2 is rage, and rage is when you go white hot flash of fury, and you can't actually measure any consequences to your actions.
No.
And
because you don't even remember when you come down from that.
no, all you see is white. I mean, literally, like a hot white light, and you don't even know what you did.
So every time I watch episode 2, it's white hot rage with bad prosthetic beard from Ewan McGregor. That's all I see. Come down from that.
Oh my god, that is, yeah, and is like as far ahead as on effects and everything that they were getting things right. It's like Obi-Wan's beard glued on, like everybody can see it, man.
It's coming off.
Yeah, it's actually Liam Neeson's fake beard from episode 1 looked better than the fake beard from episode 2.
It did actually.
Yeah, I know it did. Yeah,
it'd have been better if Dooku, after he slashed him on the thigh and on the arm, and he laid down and crumpled into a little fetal position, if he would have went up and just like ripped his beard off and it was like tape. Like, I knew it.
Or if he's laying there and he's like, oh.
Why do you have your hand in front of your face? Nothing.
No. If it just kind of like flopped off as he's laying there. Yeah.
They would have made some. Lucas would have put some digital effect in where like a rat came in and grabbed his mustache and ripped it off.
Yeah.
Ran off.
Yeah.
Right.
Ran off with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the pink shields that flap open like killed the rat, and Obi-Wan got his beard back. I mean, that would have, But no, guys, episode 2 is the hardest one to go back and rewatch. I mean, I think I've let all my kids watch it, but to me, to sit through the whole thing is just pain. It's painful.
Terrible.
I mean, and here's the thing: like, I don't hate any of the prequels. I accept them for what they are. They're part of the story. They're part of the lore. But to go back and rewatch them, some of those I just can't do it. They're just tough. It's tough for me to go back and watch them. And it's not like it hurts. It's not like it hurts me. It's just like it's just not. that entertaining.
I didn't plan on going down this Star Wars tangent,
Rabbit
but
hole.
prequel.
this rabbit hole.
bashing.
But my favorite part of episode 3, and I don't mind that movie, but my favorite part is not actually the movie itself. It's the memory that my brother and I watched the opening night, and we saw a group of nerds with plastic lightsabers and really bad Jedi robes playing around having a lightsaber fight. There's probably like 20 of them, and one of them got hit in the knuckles, and the next thing you know, there was like 20 plastic lightsabers.
No shit, he's right.
Nerds' heads, and cops had to come break it up, and it was the best thing I've ever seen.
So this at the palace? Was this in Bloomington at the palace?
No. It was in Peoria. It was at the Rave.
It was at the Rave in Peoria. Yeah.
No, Scott, I totally forgot about this. Now, the way I remember it was, I think
great.
They were, they were playing with the plastic telescopic lightsabers, right?
Yeah.
A few of the guys had maybe the fancy ones that were like $100, and they had the LED lights in them. But somebody was, of course, in a crowd like that, somebody takes themselves too seriously, right? And they think they're doing it for real. Somebody probably got one over the knuckles and then talked smack, and then all of a sudden there were busted plastic telescopic lightsaber pieces and dead geek
everywhere,
geek laying all over the parking lot. Cops come, cuffing Wookiees, strangling Bith musicians. It was a terrible scene.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Totally forgot about that. So glad you remembered that.
Yep.
Yeah, a real fight broke out.
Braden was like, what, 2 months old?
Yeah, he about was, right.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, Elliot, so Scott, let's go back to Scott's original question, because I know you got a hard stop here in a few minutes, but Last Jedi, like, what have you seen on these trailers, these things where you've seen these things, you've been like, oh my God, I want to find out. Come on, let's go. I want to hear Elliot's thoughts here.
So
do you want me to play the music from the last show while you talk?
No, we're okay.
All right, fine.
The one thing that I'm looking forward to, because we've all heard about Mark Hamill's comments about the direction that Rian Johnson is taking with this movie, and I'm not so much to see what's going on, but I am really just excited to see the new direction that Rian Johnson is taking it. That's like the one thing that I'm excited for, is that this is going to be, and that I'm anticipating and hoping, is that this is going to be in a totally new direction than any of the movies have taken. From the trailers and everything that I'm seeing, and some of the misdirections and stuff like that, I am really looking forward to like Snoke, like this mystical guy that we right now. I'm hoping there's some backstory here, and we find out more about him. Like, Snoke is like the one person that I'm really excited about.
Yeah. There was a new. It was like Andy Serkis. There was a new quote recently where it said that it's confirmed that he's not a Sith, but he's very much a dark side of the Force user, which we've never seen anybody that uses the dark side that's not a Sith. We've never seen that before. Out of 7 movies. I mean, I guess Kylo Ren, but before that, in the original 2 trilogies, that's never been seen. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that's awesome.
But let me correct you for a second. Worst episode of Cosmic Wars ever. The Clone Wars. If you're familiar with the Clone Wars at all, and I know not all of us have watched it, but there was a. Thank you, Braden. He's laying down in bed. He's got one arm back. He's got his phone in front of me. Me. All right, so. All right, hey, that's a morning there. That's a weekend. But if you're familiar with the Clone Wars at all, there was a not even a race of people, but they were called the Witches of Dathomir, and the planet on the planet Dathomir, which is actually. The witches were actually the ones who spawned Darth Maul. Yeah, that's how he ended up the way he was, and his brother Savage Opress. If you're familiar with the Clone Wars, and of course Darth Maul made his way past Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. For those you novice fans that are still hanging around listening to what you thought was baseball, now you're talking about Star Wars, right? So you know that, guys. You know it. But anyway, so we've seen Force users or Sith witches or whatever you want to call them. I don't know if they're Sith at all. I don't think they were, but so we've seen it. We haven't. You're right, Scott. We haven't seen it in any of the trilogies.
Yeah,
but we've seen it in the animated series that they have to kind of complement.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I'm excited to see it on the big screen.
I am too, and it's kind of refreshing because we've seen 6 movies, right? Where it's either been Jedi or Sith. There's been nothing in between, and we finally got The Force Awakens, and now you're seeing something that's kind of outside of, it's outside the box, and I think it's a good thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Have you guys kept up with Rebels at all? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to go off a tangent because it has everything to do with Jedi Sith.
I have not seen any episodes of the new season.
Okay, well you've seen up through 3 at least, right?
Huh?
You've seen if you watched up through season 3.
Oh yeah. I've seen them all.
So I'm not going to spoil anything from you because 4. I think so far in 4, right, Elliot hasn't revealed anything more about the in between. But
no, it's.
I don't think it has. I think it's just progressed how thing's going to line up to where we get to Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you've followed Rebels, they've really explored that more. Because look, Kanan, we went into this Rebels series where Kanan wasn't a fully trained Jedi. I mean, he escaped Order 66 as a Padawan, so his training was never completed. You have Ezra, who's a Force-sensitive person who has had no exposure from training on either side. So you've seen these 2 guys, with their Force powers. Well, hold on,
He's kind of got his training between both Kanan and then Maul.
Right.
That's true.
A little bit with Maul, with the holocron and everything like that. So.
Right. So, boy, I tell you what, guys, we could have a whole separate episode on Rebels because I've got a lot of questions on. I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because that's a really good one. And I actually I went on one episode of Rebel Force Radio to talk. It was Rebels Declassified was their episode, but I didn't get asked that many questions, and the one I wanted to ask, I didn't get a chance to. So I'm just going to throw this out right here, and we can go right back to The Last Jedi, guys. Ezra is the only one who opened both the Sith and the Jedi holocron.
Yes.
And I find that fascinating that's just not talked about more. I'm sure there's some guys out there throwing out YouTube videos that have thought about that, but to me, it's like, hold on. So something special would happen when him and Maul opened up those 2 holocrons. They were supposed to reveal like a bunch of secrets, and they say the holocrons are destroyed, but there's still fragments left, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Well, he has them both, and he's the only one that's ever been able to not control, but at least open and reveal the secrets of both. So, like, what would have stopped him from doing that on his own? Could he just not, is it only one holocron per Force user rule? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just fascinating. Like, he's a fascinating character, but it all goes to the whole gray area where it's not Jedi, it's not Sith, it's something else. And then we were exposed to the Bendu and Rebels. That's really where I was going.
Yes.
Right. The guy, he's the one in the middle.
And that's what I was thinking.
Well, to piggyback on that, there's a clip or a scene that keeps showing in The Last Jedi where it's almost like a spotlight on like a book or something.
Like inside what you think is the Jedi temple.
Yes, and it very much the textures on the walls very much look like Bendu, like something with him. Like I
was thinking that too.
Man, I keep wondering, is that Bendu, that Force character, is he going to be? I mean, there has to be some sort of connection between Rebels and The Last Jedi. I mean, they kind of alluded to some of that in maybe beforehand with Rebels and The Force Awakens, and it didn't really pan out. But
no, there were no parallels between the 2, were there? I mean, we thought,
and I think they did. I think they alluded to it.
They would have tied something in, right? I mean, that would have been the speculation anyway.
But maybe it was too new. Rebels was too new when Force Awakens came out. But now I don't know, man. That Bendu character just seems like the perfect thing for. Well, even if it's in a flashback.
Didn't Bendu say that he's been around for?
I don't remember. I don't remember. Maybe he did. I just don't remember.
I think he did. I don't remember the time frame, but I know he was a very old character.
And that's the thing with Snoke, right? Snoke is. He looks like a big moose. Force moose.
Force moose. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember how long he said he was LA, but that's interesting because it's always been said that it's hearsay. I don't know if it's ever actually been if it's official, but Snoke is ancient and he's seen the rise. Well, actually, I think it was in the Force Awakens novelization, which I have not read myself, but I've heard a lot of other podcasters talk about this, that he had witnessed the rise and fall of the Empire, which suggests that he is a lot older. And of course, looking at him, you would guess he is anyway, right? But no mention if he's ancient or not, or how ancient he might be. I mean, I call my dad ancient, but he's only 60.
It does say, I'm just pulling this up here real quick. This is on Star Wars Wikipedia.
Wooka?
It does say
Wooka.
Wooka. Yeah, Wooka. There you go. It does say that
Wikipedia.
he is an ancient being.
Okay. Is Wikipedia? You got me saying it now, man. I didn't even say Wikipedia.
Yeah, sorry. Wikipedia. Yeah, sorry. I thought it was Wikipedia.
I've
Sorry.
just been stained on my pronunciation of that website. Thank you.
So yeah, it does say he's ancient. So it doesn't say specifically when or what how old, but no, that's
It is curious, though.
It is curious, man. There's so that's the thing about The Last Jedi. There's so many questions right now. And the thing is not all of them are going to be answered. I mean, there's a lot of questions going into The Force Awakens, but the biggest thing that I am excited about is Luke Skywalker. You know, The Force Awakens was really good. I like that movie a lot, but man, I love the character of Luke, and I'm glad that they didn't go into like a very stereotypical status quo type way. You know, I'd hate for this new trilogy if they just would have went back to, oh, I'm Luke, I'm older, and I have a Jedi temple.
I 100% agree with that,
Yeah,
Scott.
yeah.
I mean, we've always wondered, right, Elliot? I mean, since the end of the Return of the Jedi, like we've all imagined in our heads what he had done after that. Like,
and that's I think that's the thing where, you know, that I thought was awesome about Battlefront 2 is that there's a story arc with Luke Skywalker, and you get to kind of find out some of the things that he was doing after the second Death Star blow up. They were still fighting. They were still fighting factions of you know, the Empire that were broken up. I mean, just because, you know, the Emperor was dead, you still had all these loyalists that were there. So, you know, there's he's still out there fighting with the rebels. So
yeah,
and I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, Braden's got a question. You guys hear him?
That Iden girl is Rey's mom or no?
What he's something about
The Iden Versio character. And Braden, I'm going to repeat your question because I heard this theory come up too, and it is fascinating. If you watch all the cutscenes, which I cheated, Elliot. I mean, I don't own a PS4 yet, and I think my problem is time.
No. Xbox.
Okay, Xbox. All right. So I don't know either, but I did cheat and I watched the YouTube. People posted up the YouTube cutscenes of the whole thing. And
Right.
If you watch the gameplay that ties into it, man, that thing's like 3 hours.
it is.
But,
Yeah, it's long.
But it's really, really fascinating. And Braden's question went to this. There's a theory now that Iden Versio is the protagonist through the whole thing, right? I mean, she's the main character.
Yes.
The story really centers around, and I know there are things that involve Princess Leia, and there are things that involve Luke Skywalker, but really who carries the story from beginning to end is Iden Versio.
Correct.
So Braden's question, and it's a theory that's been thrown out there, and I saw a pretty compelling video based on the footage from the cutscenes of Battlefront 2.
Right.
Do you and Scott, if Scott's seen it too, do you guys think that Iden Versio is Rey's mother? And I forgot the not Hask. Hask is the guy that was Inferno Squad, but that was a First Order.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What was his name? Milo?
Del.
Miko?
Del Miko.
Miko Del. Del Miko.
Del Miko.
Del
Yeah.
Miko. Yeah.
So
he was the guy that broke off with her and joined her.
Hold on, Braden. What'd you say?
But at the end, like when you're playing as Kylo Ren, we know that whoever that guy was, I forgot his name, who was like married to Iden, we know that they
Del Miko,
abused
so we
their daughter because Kylo Ren said you chose fatherhood and
Yeah.
blah blah over the dark side and a daughter.
Well, B, let's hear what Elliot has to say, because Elliot knows a lot about this stuff too. So, Elliot, you got the question, right? I think that Iden and Del Miko is the parents of Rey.
I don't think they're the parents of Rey.
No, Elliot has voted no.
Yeah, one of them are force sensitive, which doesn't mean anything because neither was Anakin's parents or his mother. But I think there's some gaps there.
We don't know who the daddy was. It could have been Rick James for all we know.
Right. Because I think
I forgot my son was on
when
here.
Kyle comes to when he confronts Del, Rey would have been at the age she's at now in The Force Awakens, and they made it sound like the daughter was young. So not the age of Rey.
Yeah.
So I think their daughter is too young.
Okay. Scott, what's your theory on this, right? Because my son asked a question. My son asked a question. His uncle needs to answer it now.
What was the question?
How many licks does
Rey
it take
the
to the
daughter
center of a Tootsie Pop?
Yeah.
I thought he asked an additional question. Okay. No.
Yeah.
Follow up, Uncle Scott. Follow up.
No, the only thing that makes me think that maybe potentially they are the parents is that Iden Versio.
Yep.
Is a real is a person in real life. That character it's like Janina Gavankar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like, oh, it's a character and somebody voiced it. No, it's her face. I mean, it's her body, her face.
Oh,
her
the mocap.
voice,
yeah, all the mocap.
Everything.
Even for Del too.
I mean, they provided the acting performances for all these things. Yeah, you're right.
They did. So that's the only thing is there's characters in Battlefront 2 that are CGI made up.
But
that's why I'm like, why would they do that when they could have easily just made up a character? You know what I mean? Made up a person.
Yeah. They could have done another Maz Kanata,
Yeah. Or just CGI a human. They could just CGI a human.
What do you think it's plausible that Iden and Delmico are Rey's parents? Because they were stranded. They crash landed on Jakku. That's where they survived. That's where they.
The only thing that makes me think that there's two things that make me think yes. One is that they are both real people, which means that they could easily play those same roles in a live action version. Two, Rey has two gifts that the game clearly spells out that they have. One being a pilot, which she displayed with the Millennium Falcon.
True.
And two, as being a very good resourceful person.
And let me throw a third,
which is another trait.
And let me throw a third one in there, guys. I mean, so have you either of you guys have you read or are you familiar with the Aftermath novels by Chuck Wendig?
Yes.
Okay. So
that's when the deep probes are sent into the unknown regions of space, right? Of the galaxy.
Oh God, Braden's breaking in with the theory. Hurry, quick! You got 5 seconds.
Go, Braden. Go.
Since Kylo Ren wanted the map from Bill and all this stuff, and Kylo Ren wanting all the stuff from him, they could have put Rey hiding on Jakku from Kylo Ren because Bill probably knew that Kylo or someone was going to kill him, but they didn't want Kylo Ren to get Rey, their daughter, so they put him on Jakku.
The only thing that doesn't jive with that, though, is that Rey and Kylo Ren are similar in age. Now, I think Adam Driver is 30 years old, and he said that in an interview that they're playing Kylo Ren as if he's just a few years younger than his actual age, which would put him at about 25. So, unless he left the Jedi Order 10 or 15 years ago,
right?
Unless he became an insane person and killed a bunch of people at age 10.
Yeah, because isn't it one of the flashbacks in Force Awakens though with one of the Inquisitors being killed? Doesn't it look like
it looks like
one of the Inquisitors?
Right, but if you look at the Art of the Force Awakens book, Scott, I bought you that. It's at your house. If you look at the Art of the Force Awakens, when they were drawing up ideas for what the villains would look like in The Force Awakens. They had a bunch of sketches. And I think some of them might have even come from when they were looking at Darth Maul, right, in episode 1. Those sketches ended up becoming the Knights of Ren.
Yes.
And I believe that the fifth brother or whatever from Rebels, he was a derivative of, I want to say, who they thought the villain might be from The Force Awakens. He was derivative, right? So, yeah, you're right. But his helmet looks like that fifth brother, and I think that's the one you're referring to, right? That the one that Kylo Ren's lightsaber ends up impaling.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, but one thing I was going to throw out there, guys, was as we talked about, Scott, and I think you mentioned it. I think it's perfect that Rey has 2 skills. She's an excellent pilot and engineer, and Iden Versio was an excellent pilot, and her Rey's father, Del Meeko, was an excellent engineer, right?
Yes.
So I think that's a really strange coincidence that they both ended up stranded on Jakku. Basically, they were fighting for the Republic and the rebellion at the time. But that's where they ended up. Now, the other thing is, if you guys, so you're familiar with I think Scott, you said you're familiar with the Aftermath.
Yeah.
Three book series. The Emperor had a contingency plan if he were ever to fail. And he had observatories set up at the far reaches of the known galaxy, right?
Yes. Yep.
Jakku was one of those observatories. Now, I really don't know what an observatory is supposed to freaking mean, but all I know is that this observatory, the plan was that was the final battle, right? If the Emperor dies, he said that all the pieces on the chess table have to die as well because they couldn't protect their Emperor.
Yes.
So the idea was draw the alliance in, have the final battle. The planet was supposed to die. It was supposed to explode. And there was some kind of Sith magic that had to be involved with that, which I can't get into because I don't know enough about. And I might even have that detail slightly wrong. But on that planet in the observatory were a lot of Sith artifacts. So there's some kind of Force tie-in sensitivity to that planet.
Yeah.
It holds some significance that we still don't fully understand yet. But you have mom, great pilot, father, engineer, planet that has some kind of ability in the Force or Force sensitivity or some significance, and Rey's from there and has all those things, guys. I just want to throw that out there. I kind of agree with Elliot though that it'd be hard to believe that coming from 2 non-Force sensitive parents that Rey's all of a sudden this immensely raw, powerful. So yeah, it's a lot to get, but yeah. Oh.
I gotta bounce, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, Elliot, thanks for being on.
Elliot's got to go. Elliot, thanks, man.
Gentlemen, have fun. Take it easy.
Thanks. See ya.
Well, like with the dark side, how she uses that lightsaber shove like the Emperor, and we can also see.
Wow, it got quiet.
Some dark side things and light side.
I can hear Braden.
Get that because
you can or can't?
I can.
Like loud and clear?
Yeah.
I think that might have been Elliot's mic on there. I'm getting him a new mic. I'm going to find out his address. We're buying him a Yeti Snowball. We're taking care of this problem right now. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, Braden, go ahead and ask.
Alright, so how the Force Awakens Rey he kind of hints at using some of the dark side and hints at using like the light side. Well, she could also get that from her mom because her mom was a vampire and then she chose the rebellion. So she could also get that from her mom. Or maybe
I agree, buddy. I agree. I definitely think that. It's not far-fetched for both of the or the Iden Verso and Del Meeko. They could have had Force abilities that they just didn't know about. I mean, especially because all of this was after the fall of the Jedi Order. So, I mean, think of how many people have Force abilities out there that don't know it. So I don't think it's too far-fetched. The only thing that makes the biggest thing that makes me think that they're not her parents is the fact that it's too obvious. You know what I mean? Like, there's too many dots to connect to say yes. I don't know if Disney or Lucasfilm would want that information out there before the movie starts. You know what I mean?
It could just be like a little easier to get people going too. Like,
Yeah. I'm thinking that it's just a good story points, and they threw it out there to maybe kind of throw everybody off the trail. So, but
since like Aiden's dad was like that leader who like took over partly after like the Emperor dead.
yeah, I think your dad just passed out. I heard a loud thud.
Sort of a connection with.
No, I'm good.
A little bit, because we saw that lightsaber shop and all that other stuff. She could have a connection because her mom is like the daughter of that one guy, and like he was the Emperor. So
Yeah.
So sorry guys, I just stepped away, Scott. I didn't hear most of what you don't repeat it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was saying, we were talking about those two characters, that it wouldn't be far-fetched for one of them. My bet would be Iden Verso, that she could be force sensitive and not know it, especially because this is during the reign of the Empire. You know what I mean? So
when they suppress all that stuff, right? When they
yeah. When really, especially if they're so entrenched in the Empire that even if somebody had some sort of force sensitivity, they wouldn't tell. They wouldn't say that they did, out of fear. So you know what I mean? But I also I keep going back to, I don't think that they are Rey's parents, just because it's almost too obvious. Like, they almost laid it out there as to say, nope. You know what I mean? Or to get everybody to be like, yeah, that's her parents, and then no.
Yeah, I default to this. I threw my theory out there earlier about her parents having a certain skill set, and then her growing up on a planet that had a certain sensitivity to something that we don't fully know yet.
Yeah.
But I still don't buy it. I think she was taken there and put there for a reason.
Yeah. I think so too.
That's what it'll ultimately come down to. And I think now, I've also read the Inferno Squadron novel, which is it's not my favorite, but it is an interesting story, because it starts off, Iden actually was at the first Death Star explosion.
Oh, really?
She was a TIE pilot. She was beyond the reach of the blast, but it did affect her tie, and she did crash land on Yavin 4. It found her way back to the Empire from there. I won't go into all details there because there's a little bit of a story, but you see her again, when the story picks up in Battlefront 2, she's once again captured and, steals secrets and whatever. But it's a decent book, because it tells you how Inferno Squadron was formed by her father and how the pieces came together, and how that's really the bulk of the Inferno Squadron novel.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. That's cool.
Daisy Ridley did tweet out, like, I don't think Rey's parents really matters, or something, like, or it's not like a big plot of the story. So if that is like what she said, maybe Star Wars is like, hey, maybe we can fetch out a couple things in Battlefront, because maybe it's not the big part of our story, and like give people to bite on.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, bud. I think that they've been throwing out red herrings on Rebels and Battlefront 2. I think they keep throwing it out there, just kind of throw everybody off the trail. But the other thing that I'm really, really pumped about, and we kind of said, different Force users, but I really want to know what the story is with Luke. Is he trying to just give up the ways of the Force now? Or is he trying to figure out, hey, maybe there's a better way here? Maybe instead of being totally on the dark side or the light side, maybe this middle ground that's where you're supposed to be, in the gray. And I also heard, I can't remember why I read this recently, but basically said that it was confirmed that Qui-Gon Jinn was technically more of a gray Jedi.
Well, if you think about it, Scott, hasn't that popped up before, though? You've had, if you look through the history of the Jedi, there have been a couple of them now that have been kind of those people that have walked away from the order. If you look at Ahsoka, I know she wasn't fully trained. She didn't graduate a Jedi. She was still technically a Padawan when she walked away from the order, but I would put her in that category though.
I would put her as a gray Jedi.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you think about the end of season 2, which is by far my favorite episode of Star Wars Rebels, the part 2, season 2.
Yep.
When she faced off with Vader finally, which we all were dying to see.
Yes.
And she said, then I will, I kill, Darth Vader says, I killed Anakin. He was weak. And I'm paraphrasing here. I don't know if the exact words, but
yeah.
And then he goes, well, and then she responds and says, well, then I'll avenge his death. And he says, well, revenge is not the Jedi way. And she says, I am no Jedi.
Yes.
And she has white lightsabers. And by the way, another novel that I'm guilty. And I say I read these things, guys. I have a long commute back and forth to work, and sometimes I come back to Illinois to see. He's still awake. His eyes are open. I looked down. I had to look down. But I had the Ahsoka audiobook. Ahsoka was one of the audiobooks, and the reason I wanted that as an audiobook is because Ashley Eckstein voiced it, and she did the voice for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
But that was a fascinating book, and it explained how why her lightsabers that she carries in Rebels are white. That she actually, so Sith, right? If you believe the theory with the Sith, they have to acquire their kyber crystal from a light side Force user, and they corrupt it and it becomes red, right? They bleed it, or whatever that theory is. I don't know much about that. The part how they turn the crystal red and get a red lightsaber, I've only heard that secondhand knowledge, so I haven't read anything directly that's why that happens.
Yeah,
but
I think that is true.
Ahsoka got her two kyber crystals from a Inquisitor that she defeated, and when she built her own 2 lightsabers, all of a sudden they were white.
So it's like the reverse.
Her blades are white. Right. Well, she's not in the Jedi Order, so they're not going to turn blue. They're not going to turn green or purple or whatever. I mean, they turn white because I believe she's in the middle of all this too. She's. So we to your point earlier, we see people step in the middle of all this where they're not really on either side. I mean, Ahsoka's still more on the light side, I believe. I believe she'll always hang out there. Well, if you take Darth Maul at face value, yes. I still believe he was full of crap for the most part.
Yeah. And I, the thing with about Qui-Gon Jinn, just a little bit that we know from episode 1 is that, he did disagree with a lot of the Jedi Order. He broke a lot of rules. And also that took place because this whole thing about kyber crystals changing colors when the user touches them, that is all since Disney took over, because it used to be your kyber, or it wasn't really a kyber crystal, it was a crystal, and it was green colored or blue colored, and the red color were the ones that were unstable, and that's why the Sith used them, because no Jedi in their right mind would use an unstable crystal. That's all Lucas era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It is. There's some of that can be debunked. If you go back to a scene in the Clone Wars, actually one of the first Darth Maul episodes after he's restored, right, by Mother Talzin. If you remember, Asajj Ventress had 2 red lightsabers.
Yes. Yeah.
When Maul and Savage Opress had them cornered in a cargo ship, Savage shared one of her red lightsabers with Obi-Wan, but it stayed red the entire time. It didn't change instantaneously. So there's some kind of process that hasn't been revealed yet. It's like you can just, as soon as you grab the hilt, it either turns red or blue or whatever. Obviously there's more to it than that.
I know. I think it's supposed to be when they build it. I think it's like the color when they build the thing. So.
Just add some RIT dye.
Yeah.
Just add a packet of RIT dye and shake the crystal around.
Yeah,
get whatever
it's
color you want.
It's like dyeing your jeans, or if people do that, I don't do that.
But
one time,
how would you get a brown saber, Bray? What kind of sound would that make as it came out of the hilt? Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome on your first.
Thank you. Yeah. So it wasn't an epic. It was just a very small.
Or if it's a shorter saber, it's like
yeah. Would it go like this though? Would it be like like it's got to do a two stepper to get like the full length?
Or it has like a mallet in and it goes.
Yeah, so that's the thing I'm looking most forward to, though.
The
Last
brown
Jedi.
saber. Yep.
The brown saber.
Brown saber. Who lost?
That I should make a Twitter handle for that called Brown Saber.
Brown saber. That's what we should name the Star Wars specific segment of
Brown
the Bad Critic podcast. Whenever we launch into the Star Wars talk, it's our Brown Saber segment.
Welcome to a new segment of Brown Saber.
Okay. Okay. Done. Relax yourself.
Relax. Yeah.
So here's what's funny. We've talked for a long time. This has actually been enjoyable because I've been able to talk Star Wars, which I'm not able to do every day. But The Last Jedi. So we really haven't drilled down into that, but that's where all this news is floating around. But here's what's great about this kind of stuff, Scott, and Elliot said it before he had to step out, that these movies, the Last Jedi is going to answer some questions, but it's also going to create so many more.
It is.
Does that not keep us coming back and dying for more? Right? I mean, that is just perfect. It's going to create as many questions as it answers, and I think that's great.
It is. I think that Ryan Johnson. I think that Ryan Johnson not only is a good storyteller, but they also have the marketing power of Disney behind this now, which they're not gonna they're gonna. I feel like, especially like with Marvel, whether you like those movies or not, they have obviously.
I love that. Let's talk about this at the end, Scott, if you don't mind.
The Infinity War trailer.
Holy Nikes, man! When they brought Guardians in on that, man, it is like a perfect. It's a perfect storm, and it's a perfect storm in a good way.
And talk about commitment.
And
man.
at the end of that trailer, when you thought it was over, and when you thought it was over, they brought the Guardians in. Like, holy crap!
Yeah,
it was good anyway. I mean, the trailer was great up to that point, but when they brought that at the end, I'm like, holy smokes, this is Yep. Let's talk about that at the end because
let's save that. Yeah. But no, I think that they're going to keep in a satisfying way, like they do with Marvel. I think they're going to keep bringing enough to the table to keep wanting people to come back, and that's to Disney's credit. They know that they obviously paid a crap ton of money for the Star Wars property. They're going to use it to its fullest extent. And I think they're going to do it in a way to where it's not so commercialized. They're going to treat it with care and respect. And I mean, obviously they're doing that with The Last Jedi. And say what you will about The Force Awakens. Yeah, was it a rehash of A New Hope? Yeah. But it was a good movie.
Well, it was a rehash in some ways, but I do think there was a lot of original content there. I mean,
there was. Oh, there totally was.
Here's the thing. I mean, you think about it, right? I mean, there were obviously similar setup, right? I mean, let's go to the cantina example that you went to with A New Hope, right?
Yeah,
we all love that part of the movie because when we were young watching that for the first time, that was so strange.
He doesn't like you
at the same time,
and I don't like you either.
Should have wore that shirt tonight.
Yeah,
I sported the Akbar tonight.
Yeah, no, I like it.
But when we get to The Force Awakens, we have our cantina scene. But what's kind of I appreciate more now than when I saw it the first time was that the aliens and things were all different, right? There wasn't, and at the first, part of you clamors for show me an alien that I'm familiar with, right? Like show me a hammerhead or something like that, we didn't see anything like that, but it was still kind of nice that it really speaks to how big the galaxy is and the universe is that they're playing in. That you go to all these different places, you don't recognize any of these creatures.
But some of it kind of though, they did a good job. It felt familiar though. You know what I mean? In a sense, it felt familiar, but yet different. and that was good. And more so than the prequels, I think part of that is with, especially in the, I think Ryan Johnson even said it in The Last Jedi, that a lot of these creatures are not going to be CGI. They're going to be practical, and they did a lot of that in The Force Awakens too.
Well, you know what?
That ties back.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, you know what? Really, to me at this point, Scott, with how much CGI we see daily, that we don't even know, I'm like, that's fine. I mean, I really don't have a opinion at this point whether something's real or if it's CGI. I just care about the actual story and how well that's done.
Yeah.
I realize that practical effects can lend better support to the actors that are interacting with it.
Yeah.
Right?
It depends on the situation, though.
Well, in the story, I think it all comes down to the story. If the story's crap, I don't care what kind of effects you have, it's still going to be,
yeah,
Chronicles of Riddick,
or the bad guy in Justice League.
Am I? Oh God.
Yeah. So that's just a case of bad CGI.
Can we? It's your podcast right now, Scott. Can we park?
You want to diverge?
No. Can we park Justice League just for a second? Let's polish off and finish up our Star Wars talk.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
We'll go into Justice League and we'll finish off with the highlight with the Marvel trailer, which I've watched probably 16 times at this point.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah.
So with The Last Jedi, you're at the very beginning of this, man. You asked impressions like what wowed you, and I think that even from the first teaser, like Luke talking to Rey, like breathe, close your eyes. What do you see? And this kind of theme has come up not every trailer they show, but it comes up every once in a while. Like she says the light, the dark, the balance. But that something one else. Where she says and something else, and it's calling to me. And he says, resist it. And then he screamed out, Rey. That to me is like, what the hell is going on there? Is that
exactly?
Snoke? Is that Snoke? We can all think right now, and I think a lot of people do, that's Snoke.
I don't think it is.
I think it's something else.
I think it's something else. It's something else. And there's so much that's like, I've read a lot of the Star Wars comics that have come out, especially the one that takes place after Return of the Jedi. And there's a lot of it that lends into
Shattered Empire, right?
Shattered Empire. And a lot of that ties in with Aftermath. They kind of go over a lot of the same stuff, but those outposts that you're talking about that had all these artifacts, one of them that Luke Skywalker, actually Poe Dameron's mother, is a pilot that takes Luke Skywalker to this outpost, and he finds two force-sensitive trees.
Yeah, right.
And it's stuff like that it keeps adding layers to all this. Now you have items that are force sensitive that can have a force, almost an aura left to it.
Right. Is a baby Bendu.
Yeah. And I mean, and one of those trees is planted at Poe Dameron's house, and he grew up with it.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. And it opens up that door again, like you said. We don't think it's Snoke. It could be something completely different. It could be something that's force sensitive, that maybe like a Bendu that's calling to her. It could be an artifact, or it could be some other aspect of the force that we don't even know about.
Do you know what I hope Snoke's not, though? And that is the villain on Iron Man 3. We thought that Ben Kingsley's character the whole time in Iron Man 3 was the bad guy.
You don't want Snoke to be like, I saw raw power, and then they get to him and he's like, my name's Trevor Slattery.
My name's Trevor Smith. I'm sorry. I was just I thought I had these prosthetics and I was just wearing them. And...
Yeah. No, I hope not.
No, and I hope disappointment. No kidding. Like, it's Wizard of Oz. Like you touch Snoke's head and it like pokes in and there's a little guy sitting there, like, what the hell? Like on Independence Day or something like that, right?
Men in Black, yeah. It's like the little joysticks. But yeah.
Thank you, because that was the movie that was in my head, and I totally said Independence Day, and I think it was just
Will Smith.
Is Will Smith, right?
Will Smith and aliens. It's all good. I totally see the train of thought there, but yeah, that's my biggest fear is I don't want Snoke to be a character we've seen before that is now going under an alias. You know what I mean? I don't want that.
No, and I don't want Snoke to be. Yes, I was Darth Sidious to reincarnate. And I tell you what, somebody posted up a picture side by side, and it's compelling if you didn't know any better. They put up a picture of Tarkin next to the latest image of Snoke. Like I think it was in Rolling. I don't know if it was Rolling Stone. But like the bone structure on the face like looks
I can see that.
Tarkin-esque, but it's obviously not.
I know it's not Tarkin, no, but you know, it's hard.
I love that character though, man. And I tell you what, the Tarkin character.
Tarkin. Oh yeah,
I have not read the book. I've kind of heard people talk about the book, but seeing him again on Rogue One, like, and you were with me, right, when I saw it the first time.
Yeah.
Like, this,
he looks good. I mean, he looks really good.
Really, really good. Yeah.
And the portrayal was awesome. I mean, he's like I said, he's a great character. He's an awesome character. I don't know, with Snoke, I want to see something cool. I want to see something new. But also at the same time, in all the expanded universe stuff that's now legacy, for those of you that aren't familiar with that, that's all the stuff that happened outside the movies before Disney bought Lucasfilm. So a large part of that was clones, like in the Clone Wars, but Emperor Palpatine kept coming back through the cloning process. Part of me wants to see that.
Are you falling asleep?
Is he asleep?
Hey, Scott,
he's going down.
Your first Bad Critic podcast, your nephew is going to fall asleep during it, which is going to be awesome. That's how we're going to promote it.
Thanks, Braden. Take it.
Puts 12-year-olds to sleep.
All right. Well, maybe we should wrap it up so he can get to Justice League and we can talk about Infinity War.
Yeah. So anyway, my final thoughts coming up on this, just as terms as just The Last Jedi. I was excited to see The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens, because we thought for a moment we would see the original three, the big three together on screen.
Yeah.
We didn't get that, but I think that's okay.
Yeah.
We're obviously not going to get it now, but I think it's okay. And I know a lot of people are upset about it, but to me, it's like, gosh, this actually makes it that much better that we didn't get that, right? So we appreciate that original trilogy that much more.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. So anyway, going into this one, I'm.
It's okay. No, it's totally mine.
All right. So, but going into The Last Jedi, I'm really excited to see where they take Luke Skywalker's character. So I agree with you in the beginning. That's the guy that we've wondered what's happened to him since Return of the Jedi. That was the hero. That was the hero's journey for the original trilogy. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this all goes, and I couldn't be any more excited. It's just a matter of days away now.
I know, and hopefully you're back then, so we can see it.
Yeah, we're all going to see it. Maybe we'll all see it.
I'm going to see it every day in December.
I'm going to see Cosmic Wars every day.
Every day.
Best episode of Cosmic Wars ever.
Ever.
I'm only going to see it 18 more times. All right. Scott, you want to talk about another element here?
Justice League?
Full disclosure, man, I haven't.
You haven't seen it?
Dude, I haven't seen it. I've got three young kids at home. I don't have.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine. I don't really need to go.
You saw it. So hold on. Do you want it? I've talked to you briefly about it.
Yeah.
So, Braden, you put yourself on pause for a second. No, you don't have to put yourself on mute. Scott, what did you want to see going in, and what did you see?
In Justice League?
Yeah.
I wanted to see something a lot more hopeful than Batman vs. Superman. And I'm not saying Batman vs. Superman is the worst movie ever, but there's a lot of parts in it I hate. Like, straight up hate. I didn't like that Superman was not a symbol of hope. He just kind of moped around. I did not like that Batman was a straight up murderer. And I did not like the last scene. I liked Wonder Woman was my favorite part of Batman vs. Superman, and that's totally should not be the case. That
No,
should not happen.
why is that? Was it because of the character, the story, or
I thought she was really cool. Like she was just
she was just normal looking, not pretty or anything?
oh, I thought she was ugly as sin.
On film was awful.
Actually, you know what? Sarah and I rented that one night because there was like, it was one of those weeks where you just want to come home and be entertained and unplug from reality.
That's every day for me.
It really is for me too. But you know, when reality is like, you can only.
You have jackals at home though.
I get pissed off at Hollywood every once in a while, but
yeah,
like we couldn't find anything. So like, right, I've heard good things at least from like Collider and everything on Wonder Woman. So let's just watch it. Actually, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was an awesome movie. I mean,
The thing I hated is there wasn't action until the freaking end of the movie.
What's 'cause
Of Wonder Woman?
Yeah,
There's action in the beginning.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
it wasn't okay.
Son, you got a lot to. we son. We're gonna Braden, we're gonna put this in the parking lot right now. We're gonna talk about this outside of the show.
Yeah, no, Wonder Woman was good. I liked her Batman vs Superman, but going into Justice League, I wanted to see a more hopeful movie, and I also wanted to see Superman given some justice. Now, this is your spoiler warning, so if you haven't seen Justice League, you don't want to hear anything, go away.
Spoil anything for me?
Yeah. So no, not you. I'm talking about for listeners. I don't care about you. I'm gonna ruin everything for you.
Yes, ruin it.
But you know, there's a lot of background factors that go into play that I've read about with Justice League, which is very unfortunate as far as like executives wanting to get their bonuses. So that's why they rushed this movie out. They cut 45 minutes of movie out of the movie to make it under 2 hours, which is just crap. So you know what I mean? Yeah. It's that studio mandated stuff where it's like they did this with Batman vs Superman. They did it with Suicide Squad, which is a awful movie.
You only had 130 effects.
Suicide Squad was a crap movie. I mean, that was just a garbage. That was a dumpster fire of a movie. Is he? I can hardly. Is he saying he likes that movie?
He did. He's mad at you for saying Suicide Squad.
It's because it's a movie for 12-year-olds.
Oh God! That is not. I thought this. He's 12 years old, and we haven't had this talk yet. But Margot Robbie's not. And
yeah,
I
get why you like it. I get it.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for this conversation.
But yeah, so. Yeah, no, Justice League. I smiled a lot in the movie. There was a lot of good stuff. That I liked about it. Mm-hmm. The effects were some of the worst effects I've ever seen in a movie. I'm talking like 1998 Spawn, the movie Spawn. Like some of the effects are
like with John Leguizamo, like shrinking.
Yeah,
melting.
Dude, some of it's bad. Henry Cavill.
How does it get that bad? I mean, he had a beard, right?
Well,
he had a mustache.
Well, it got that bad because they did the reshoots, and the reshoots got finished like 3 months before the movie came out. So they reshot like 20 to 30% of the entire movie. So instead of postponing it and saying, hey, you know what, we're going to push this back to a 2018 release, which would have been fine. Instead, they wanted to rush it out. And that is because I come to find out the president and the CEO of Warner Brothers, AT&T bought Warner Brothers. That merger happens at the end of the year. They wanted to get their bonuses, and they wouldn't have got their bonuses if they didn't get this movie out.
Well, I'm not sure this movie's going to do it for him, but here's the thing, Scott. Here's a frustrating thing, right? Like, Batman, as far as DC is concerned, has always been my favorite character, and millions of other people, right? That's their moneymaker.
I
mean, let's just face it, right? Like I've enjoyed parts and elements of the Superman movies, but he is one of the least interesting characters to me because he can't be hurt, right? He can only be hurt by like a rock that's glowing green. Yeah, I mean, seriously, think about it. Like there's no consequence. There's no element of like,
No.
oh crap, what's going to happen if you know?
Well, the thing is like in the comics, they use the people around him. You know what I mean? Like that's his weakness, is trying to save people, but they don't ever use that. Like, hey, I'm going to put this bus load of children in danger.
Well, not
I'm going
to
to kill them. You know what I
but
mean?
Even if they did, I mean, okay. So if they killed off the one thing he cares about, like if the one piece of leverage, if they actually do it, like he could just say, okay, fine, you took the last thing away. I'm just going to wipe out the whole planet. I'm gonna Superman fly through it until every piece of crust is. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't
yeah.
It doesn't really.
He's almost overpowered. Yeah, that's totally.
Well, he's overpowering. I mean, nobody,
Yeah.
So he's been that's why the Batman v Superman. We probably talked about this before you ever watched it or the movie ever came out. But it's like Batman is interesting to me. Superman has just never been. I've just never been able to get on that page.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Cyborg. I just don't know.
Nobody does.
I mean, nobody does. I mean,
nobody does. Other than me, but
wasn't he a Mortal Kombat character called whatever?
Jax.
Yeah, Jax.
That's his metal arms.
Yeah, to be honest. But yeah. Thank you, Braid.
Thank you.
Your contribution so far has been, oh God, and yeah. So no, but it's just how does the Michael Keaton 2 movies just trump what's been done over the last 2? I mean, as far as like how well they're done, like the story, like honestly, Scott, the story on the Michael Keaton 1988, 1989, whatever those years were, 87, 89, 90.
89 and 92.
Thank you. I knew
You're
you.
welcome.
How are the stories on those two just so much better than what is able to be done now? That's what's baffling to me. It's just like, God.
The thing.
I'm not talking about the Christian Bale 3 Batman.
No, I know. No,
I love those, but it's like,
yeah.
How did this get so screwed up with DC?
How do you take a step back like that? Yeah. And I think that's what is jarring to a lot of people, is the fact that, okay, think about this. Batman versus Superman came out in 2016.
But it's just not an interesting premise to begin with. I mean,
no. It could be.
I realize it was probably a comic book series, and people like it was a story, and I'm sure there were parts of the story, but I'm not interested as a novice fan, right? As somebody on the outside, kind of like, I'm not 100% into the DC. I love Batman. He's like my favorite superhero.
You don't want to see. I mean, it's not a big enough hook to get people in to see these two fight.
No, it's not.
In the movie, the movie did a horrible job of even setting up what the reasoning was there between the conflict. So, that's the frustrating thing. Now,
well, it's really the why question. I mean,
why?
Like, why is this important to the whole story long term? And why
should I
ever care about why these two would fight? I mean,
they should be on the same side.
Well, they should be on the same side. But again, I think what screws us up, and it's just my opinion. I don't deep dive into these comic books and things like you are aware, and anybody you talk to that you're going to pull in on the show is going to be a lot more versed than I am in the comic book history behind these characters.
No one will be more versed than me.
Honestly, dude, I just want this. Like, if you had the Justice League minus Superman, my interest level goes up like 50%. It does. It's not that I don't like that character. I just think he's too much for this thing. It's like, that's why I like Marvel. These are like people that by themselves can't conquer a whole bunch of shit. They need each other.
They reflect the world in which we live in almost. You know what I mean? They're flawed individuals. They have their vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Well, they're all flawed, but like Superman has such abilities. Like, what the hell does he need anybody?
Yeah, I mean, anybody in Marvel other than Hulk and maybe Thor can be shot with a gun and killed. I mean, that's really.
Well, it took Logan several years, and Taco Bell chicken on steak. What is that thing that?
Yeah,
Send me
I
a
say
clip on that.
I say you can fit it. Yeah. We should play that. We should play that on the show right now. No,
Find it. Chicken,
but-
beef, or steak. Quantities unlimited.
yeah. Oh man, that's so good. That's so good. But no,
I forgot
think,
about that part until you sent me that clip. That is funny.
I
I love the
know,
movie
I know.
Logan.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's not a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so you're screwing all of it up, idiot.
Yeah, his hair stood up on his arm. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask Scott if you want to talk about next. I mean, we've talked about DC, and you know my knowledge is limited, but I have my love for Batman went from when I was a little kid. Mom and Dad can tell you that, and I love the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. You know, the second one with Danny DeVito as a Penguin. And those are all great. Yeah, of course, we all started to get a distaste once Val Kilmer put on the tights, and then George Clooney's episode. Whatever happened there, I'm not sure. I think that was a.
I don't blame George Clooney on that one.
I don't blame George Clooney either. I don't.
I mean, he's a good actor. I think that he phoned it in because this is like, oh my gosh, this script's horrible. What I do?
Well, when they show bat nipples on a suit.
The thing is, though, Val Kilmer had nipples on his suit too.
I know, but they highlighted them. They smacked you over the head with them because when they put it on, it was like a bat thong butt thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they did do
and
that.
Then
They showed
it's like, what guys? Come on, not everything is perfect. You don't have a bat CD player. I mean, come on.
But this is the thing that drives me nuts.
Here's the thing. You're right. Hold on. Let me throw this in. Last thing. Promise. The bat ice skates. I'm pretty sure that's when I checked out of that movie, and that was right.
Oh yeah. That was right. That was right out of the gate, man.
They clicked their feet together, and bat ice skates popped out. I'm like, oh shit, I'm done.
Yeah,
done!
I know.
Done. he just bypassed everything we were just talking about. He just went right to what the hell he wanted to talk about. All right, Braden. All right, yes, you're right. Our conversation was boring. Thank you so much. I mean, this is pretty much daily life.
Your
right?
conversation sucks.
Dad, you're pretty much using up the air that I'm breathing, and I'm gonna hit the gas pedal for you because you're old.
Yeah.
I'm gonna advance to where I want to go.
So here's the thing that I think contributes to a lot of this. There was a 4-year gap between The Dark Knight Rises and Batman vs Superman. That's not enough time in the public consciousness for a completely different take on Batman.
Agree totally. Where Spider-Man screwed up with the Amazing Spider-Man. I think. I know.
Yeah, it was a 4-year time gap.
Well, but I mean, just real quick, Scott, your take on the Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't dislike any of those movies, but what the hell were they necessary? Why did they even do them?
I hated the second Amazing Spider-Man. I hated it.
I actually don't remember. I mean, the first one I didn't think was bad though. I mean,
I actually liked the first one.
I like Dennis Leary. I wish he was my uncle.
We do have an uncle like Dennis Leary. But no, I think we kind of do. No, I was the thing is though, I don't think anybody needs to know the origin story of Spider-Man. Nobody does. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows. Same thing with Batman. Everybody knows Batman's origin story. Everybody knows Superman's origin story. That's stuff we don't need to see. We've already seen that. The other thing that drives me crazy, the other thing that's just, I think, unfathomable is the fact that you have some of DC's biggest comic book characters. To the public consciousness, same thing. Like you look at Marvel, their movies, they had none of their A-list characters. They start out with B-list characters. Okay, 20 years ago, everybody laughed at Thor, Captain America with his little wings, Hawkeye. They were all jokes, okay? So now...
if they would have had Captain America with those little wings on his helmet, it would have... I'm glad they thought better.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, is that you had a lot of these characters that everybody said, we can never make a movie about this. So now you got characters like Cyborg, Aquaman, The Flash, they think the same thing. You can't make a movie about them. Marvel did it, so DC can. But you had.
Do you know who Sam went as Halloween this last year?
Yeah, he went as Black Panther, man.
Black Panther, loved him.
Yeah, it's awesome. But the thing is that Yeah, Black Panther's another character. 20 years ago, they would have laughed at the prospect of make a Black Panther movie. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm excited about it. But the thing is, Justice League has only made like 600 million worldwide right now, and you have 6 of DC's most popular characters in one movie. Thor Ragnarok has made more movie than Justice League. That should have never happened.
I have not seen Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok.
I want to because
dude, it's awesome.
I love. Not only do I appreciate the Thor character, but his characters that surround him that are from Asgard, I think are fantastic. I think the Bifrost, the guy that stands for Bifrost, Idris Alba. I mean, I mean, he's on the Dark Tower, which is, I guess, a shitty movie. I haven't seen it yet. But
I haven't seen it either. Yeah,
I want to see it though. Has Matthew McConaughey. Hey.
All right.
I did the Fat Albert.
Yeah, you did too. You went Fat Albert that.
I did Matthew McConaughey trying to do a Fat Albert, and I went, hey. But
you did. Oh gosh.
Here's Braden. He's just coming out like he's
on fire.
Yep. No, he's going to throw a spear in your path right now. Go ahead.
So, you know how in Thor, that one ugly dude who was like that guy in that one dumb place, like a place that was in like the Lego movie or something, I don't even know. But that guy, put like some tracking trankler device.
Trankler.
How does a little piece of electric hurt Thor, but he's a god of thunder? That did not make any sense.
Well, it's a different frequency or bandwidth, which disrupts Thor's regular frequency or bandwidth.
That's
ohms, watts. It's a watt. It's a wattage problem, man.
It's actually a very good point, Braden.
I have no idea what I'm talking about. I just spit out a bunch of shit there that might sound like
I actually never thought about that. That's a very good point. It's a very big plot hole. Thank you. You just blew a hole in that movie. It's Watergate, man. You just blew it wide open.
He just neutered your whole view on that, like
he did.
Efficiently and quickly, just like
he did. Done. He did. As I'm saying it, my mind's like, no.
It can't be that simple. Why did my mind filter out reality?
It makes total sense. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So
all right. Anyway, so DC. I'm done talking about
that. We're done with DC because it's just
I know it's disappointing for you because I get it. Man. I mean,
I wanted to love it. So on my last note, all I'm gonna say is Justice League wasn't a terrible movie. It was light years better than Suicide Squad.
But you're disappointed.
I'm disappointed. I think
this much brain power and this much dedication, like. Is Kevin Smith involved in this stuff at all?
No.
Okay, so fine. But Ben Affleck is a huge, everybody for years wanted to see him as Batman. Like that's been his character. Everybody's wanted to see it.
Yeah,
but it's happened in 2 movies now, and we've all been like,
and it's been a very lukewarm reception for each one. So that's the biggest thing is that Justice League was fun. It was entertaining. It wasn't a perfect movie. Am I going to buy it? Heck yeah. I enjoyed it. I did like it. The biggest thing that makes me like it a lot, though, is that it's a promise of better things to come. So hopefully they make a Justice League 2, and hopefully it just blows our socks off. But until then, going to the next thing, we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe to keep us held high with those high expectations, because we got awesome movies coming like Black Panther, but the one we really want to talk about is freaking Infinity War, because that trailer blew my socks off.
Wow. And it did too. And it brought full disclosure, Scott. I mean, I've watched all the Captain America. I've watched all the Iron Man. I've watched all the Avengers up obviously to this one. And I've seen all the Thor movies, but I haven't seen Ragnarok. It's been the last one. I just haven't been able to see it.
Did you see Doctor Strange?
I have not, man.
I
saw him on the trailer, so I don't fully understand the context of his power.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to catch up. Did you see Ant-Man?
I saw him on Spider-Man. Or no,
Yeah.
I saw him
Captain
on
America.
Civil War. I saw him on Civil War.
Okay, Ant-Man. Okay, that's another one. I'm telling you, Marvel has it down because when they announced it,
And I love Paul Rudd. I just haven't. Look, man, my time.
it's a great movie for the kids, man. I'm telling you, it's a great movie for it's the one Marvel movie that kids would enjoy
Okay.
because that's another one. When they announced that movie, Melissa even distinctly remembers when they announced it because I go, Ant-Man, that is the dumbest character I have ever read in the comic books. It's so stupid.
I'm guilty of getting caught on the cover of the book, though. I mean, that's what I'm guilty of. Like I see Ant-Man, a guy that's able to shrink and grow. I'm like, no.
That's pretty stupid. I mean, it sounds stupid, but man, that movie's very enjoyable.
Paul Rudd, and he makes the character more enjoyable in Civil War.
He does. He's great in Civil War, but man, okay. So I'm excited to talk about this Infinity War with you because you are a big Star Wars buff. And you like the Marvel movies, but you don't read the comic books. You're not a huge nerd like I am that knows all the history and the ins and outs and everything. So
who is dragging sandpaper over? Sugar, really, dude? Hey, listen, son, sugar babies. It's 10:20 at night. You don't have to. No. You don't have to unload that bag over the phone.
Is he just pouring it in his mouth?
Here's the thing: I can't mute him based on how he's plugged in, or I would. Anyway, so Scott, let me tell you this: as a novice Marvel fan, right?
Yeah.
Watching, I saw the Infinity War trailer, and I'm like, okay. I've seen some of the after credit things of Thanos, and I saw the Guardians of the Galaxy. Thanos showed up, and then Thor. I think 1 and 2, right? Like he showed up.
It's Thanos, right? Man. It's Thanos.
It's Thanos. I think that's how he wants to pronounce it. Like you feel better about himself. It's Thanos. Anyway, we're gonna ask Pete how you pronounce it, and that's gonna be it's gonna be the right pronunciation right there. We're gonna ask Pete.
Yeah.
Pete is better at that stuff than I am. But anyway, so I watched the trailer and I'm like, well, it's pretty cool because I've watched most of these things, and so as we're watching it, I'm like, oh man, okay, I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, but now I want to watch it because obviously there's some issues that carry over. Yeah. And I see Josh Brolin's Thanos finally showing up, like in the flesh, rather than just sitting in a chair going,
"Yeah,
boy."
Did you watch any of the? Did you watch any of the Thor shorts for Ragnarok? Well, did you watch those where Thor was in Australia?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to watch them. So they're shorts directed by the same guy who directed Thor Ragnarok, and it's supposed to be about what Thor is doing during Civil War, and that's specifically what he says. He's like, I'm trying to find the Infinity Stones, and he goes, all I know is that they're different colored, and the purple man sits in a chair. Does he not like to stand?
Well, so, we've never seen Thanos stand ever, right? I mean,
no, he's always been sitting down.
I think it was the first Thor where he turned around and went like,
that was Avengers. That was Avengers.
Oh shit. Okay. See, I can't keep stuff straight.
And the last time we saw him was Age of Ultron. When he
I have that on iTunes, but Scott, full disclosure, I watched Age of Ultron once. I bought it actually on iTunes, watched it once. Never again.
Yeah. Well, so at the end credit, the door opens up. This door opens up, and there's
exactly why I didn't watch it anymore.
There's a glove in there.
Age of Ultron was terrible.
There was a lot of terrible parts to it, yes. But he puts the glove on, and he says, "I guess you have to do everything yourself," which doesn't fit in with that movie at all.
But did it have any stones on it, or was this empty?
It's empty. It was an empty glove. He's Michael Jackson at that point, just wearing a glove. Nothing.
After he pulled it out, did he go, hee hee?
That would have been great. Would have been great. But yeah, so keep going. So you're excited about Thanos?
No, so I watched all that trailer, and I'm like, oh, this is great, man. Because I love when these guys are together, and I love the whole the first Avengers, when the Hulk finally went ballistic at the end, and David Banner turned around and said, "Hey, here's my secret. I'm always angry." You know, I mean, just
I love that you just said David Banner.
well, isn't his name David Banner?
It's Bruce Banner. It's David Banner in the TV show.
I like David.
Yeah. That's because you grew up watching.
Well, that's where I grew up.
I know.
watching.
I'm not going to fault you on it. But the people who aren't familiar, you know, I like it.
In the 80s, yes, there was a TV series of the Hulk, and it was David Banner. Braden's dialing back in. All right. So anyway, your sugar baby. Yes, thank you. Yes, Braden, that's great. Your contribution to the show tonight has been sugar babies.
I'll leave my
All right. So anyway, Scott, it's just a long explanation for like a 2-minute trailer, but so I was watching all this stuff, and I've seen most of the Marvel movies, but at the end, though, you know, Thor turns around. He's got the eye patch on. I don't know why he has the eye patch. Don't tell me, because I'm sure
I'm not gonna tell you.
So I'll have to find out. But he says, "Who are you?" And I see the Guardians of the Galaxy, like in their dipshit way of going, like, "What's up?"
Like, hey, I know they're like, hey. I mean,
it's just totally perfect, and I love the way the Disney story group that they've assigned to the Marvel movies has tied this in. It's just awesome. Fantastic.
We've never seen this in movies before.
And by far, my favorite Marvels so far have been Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Without a doubt. No, you're the one that made me. It's either you or no, Braden. You're the one that got me to watch the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I would put that. That is absolutely one of my top 5 movies I've ever seen ever. Period.
See, that's
Guardians
the thing.
of the Galaxy, the first one.
When they first announced that, because I'm familiar with the comic books.
General public didn't give a shit, right?
No, when they first announced that, I'm familiar with the comic books, and I thought, what the freaking crap are they doing? Why would they make a Guardians of the Galaxy movie? And I loved it.
Yeah, it was one of the best.
Yeah,
best of hers.
Yeah. So no, I'm with you. When
and by the way, my wife loves both of them. I mean,
yeah,
we've watched them. We've watched them more than once, and she rarely watches something more than once.
Yeah, they're great. They're hilarious, and I like because this looks like this is going to be a really heavy movie. So to throw those,
they're going to come into the end and give it some levity, some like,
yeah. No, I don't even think they're going to come in at the end. I think they're coming in right in the middle, and they're bringing because they're going to be bringing Thor, obviously.
See, I want to see Thor, like Thor and Drax having a conversation would be good too.
See, no, that's the thing that gets me more excited is that you might even have Drax and like Tony Stark having a conversation. Think about that. I mean, fantastic. Or Rocket with Ant-Man, or you know what I mean? You have all these possibilities of all these ridiculous characters. These characters should not go together, but I have that much faith in Marvel because they've proven us wrong before, time and time again.
And they timed it all right. They could have been overzealous and brought them all together earlier, but they didn't do it. I mean, it's been
10 years.
Yeah.
10 years that the story that started in 2008 with Iron Man is all leading up to this. That's a long time to be dedicated to a strategy like that.
When you get into deep stuff like that, Scott, let me give you a podcasting tip. You get your face in the mic and you go, "This is deep." I forgot my son's on here. Yeah. I don't know about his new suit, Braden. It looks metallic-y, blue.
What?
Yeah.
Who? Yes.
I like his classic suit though. I mean, I like the more.
Did you watch Homecoming? Spider-Man Homecoming?
I watched it with you, man. I went to the theater.
Oh, that's right. We took the kids. Never mind.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the suit that they showed at the end.
Yeah, I don't want them pulling a Tobey Maguire black one like in the third movie. And he's doing
he's got his hair like slicked down on his face.
He's going like this.
And he's dancing.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
No, that's when he goes, "And now dig on this." into the camera.
Did he say that?
He I'm not kidding you. Not kidding you. I hate that. God, I hate that movie.
I probably just forgot about it.
I drugged my wife to that when she was my girlfriend, and she still married me. To the midnight show of Spider-Man 3.
It's amazing.
That's love. But yeah.
All right, gents.
Infinity War, awesome. I just want to end on that. So we're gonna wrap this up.
Scott, where can everybody find you? I mean, where can they start tuning into Bad Critic Podcast? What are we gonna do going forward? Because this is so much. It's like overload.
This is overload.
We're gonna do five a week, 2 a week. What are you gonna do?
We're gonna be starting out at 2 a month. 2 a month for podcasts. Sorry, phone's ringing. 2 a month. You can check me out on iTunes Store, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and you can check me out at Bad Critic Media at Twitter or on Twitter, and Bad Critic Podcast on Facebook. Yeah, I also have a website, badcriticpodcast.blog. So you can check me out on there.
All right.
.blog.
He already has better internet skills than you, Dad. He's been doing it.
No, I'd give your dad some credit.
Actually, I deserve no credit for any internet that I've been able to accomplish.
Internets. He's good with the internets.
Live on the internets. Let's go.
So check me out. If you like the show, please review it and tell your friends. So if I can have 2 listeners by the end of the year,
really,
it'll be a victory.
Really?
No. Let's say 20. 20.
All right.
And by next year, 20,000.
Yes. We'll get them. We'll recruit them. All right. Scott, thank you for thank you for joining me on the baseball portion of this beginning, which was completely like you looked the most disinterested I've ever seen anybody. As we started this, so it was a joint effort. It was a joint effort because although we have ancillary interests that are different, like our core, like we're all Star Wars fans.
That's right.
And that's kind of what brought this whole thing together. So thank you for suffering through baseball talk.
I just did my research for The Last Jedi the whole time you guys were talking, so I was entertained, just not with you.
Yeah, I know. I saw you holding a phone up in the background. You were trying to like act like you're adjusting lighting, but you're like playing like Game of Thrones app or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. Thanks for hanging around for the beginning of this, and thanks for
thanks for having me on.
Letting me and my son, who rated the podcast somewhere midway.
Anytime.
He has managed to stay on the whole time.
I am shocked, but my nephew has a lot of good points, and he also knows a lot more about baseball than I do. So, go Braden.
That is actually like not
Scary.
Even close. Yeah, right. All right. So Scott, lead us out, man. I got the button here. Where can they find you? Like you've already mentioned that.
I've already mentioned that.
Mention it again.
So, So again, check me out on Twitter at Bad Critic Media. Check me out on Facebook at Bad Critic Podcast. And wherever you purchase your hot, fresh podcasts, I'll be there.
Hot, fresh podcast dumpings, and you can find you can find mine if you happen to be a St. Louis Cardinals or Chicago Cubs baseball fan. You can find mine at teamofrivalspodcast.com. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio. Our social media handles are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the old things. We love my brother and I would love if you give both of our podcasts a rating, review,
both.
Whatever you want, even a bad one. Just say, hey, Ron sounds like he's loaded every show. And he's awesome.
And he's awesome. And he's awesome for it.
And he's awesome for it. And there's so many stars, I'm going to translate 5 to his brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
10 stars, 10 stars, I'm going to give 5. I'm going to give them both 5. right, cool. All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Scott,
Yep. Thanks, guys.
lead us out.
Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Check us out again and let us know what we can do better and keep us. Hopefully, we keep you laughing. So tune in next week, next time. Same baseball time, same baseball channel.
By the way, you can't let us know what we can do better. We know, not you. Bye. Yeah, I know. Well, I just stepped on something here. So, hang on. Scott's still there.
Yeah, I'm here. Yep.
You have to dump your music in the end of that. It's not, doesn't sound through the board for some reason.
It's fine.
I think the board died. Yeah, I'm hitting the button, but Boss Jock won't play it. Yeah, just dump your exit music, whatever, after that.
That's fine.
All right, let me stop broadcasting so the world keeps